Hey, what's going on, guys? Like Butter here, and it's time for another build video. Today we're going to be showcasing my high-end build. I've worked on this for a few days, and it could use some small upgrades as far as like min-maxing and stuff like that. But I wanted to show you guys what I have because I'm going to be doing some different builds in the future. So let's get right into it. So there are a couple very important pieces to this build that you must have, and we'll talk about that in a second. Now, as far as the weapons, these are completely optional. I like going SMG and assault rifle, but you can do like assault rifle and sniper. It really doesn't matter. You're going to be doing a large amount of damage with this build. Now, I'm running an AUG. The AUG is my favorite SMG of them all. You can also run an MP7, an MP5, even a Vector if you really want to. That's completely up to you. But if you are using an SMG, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you have as much crit damage as you possibly can. Seeing that in the last patch, the crit damage passive got changed to crit chance, and now you get a lot of value out of building crit damage. So what I have on my AUG is a C79 scope since it has crit damage as its major stat. I also have a little bit of headshot damage and stability here. You can also get crit damage here if you like, and I think you can get crit chance as well, but crit chance isn't as necessary as it is on something like an assault rifle because you're getting so much crit chance as a passive. You also want a loud vent break, which is also mained in the crit hit damage area. This also has stability and headshot damage as well, so you want to try to get headshot damage on these two things if you can. Don't forget, SMGs don't scale as well with headshot damage, so you can do some other things there, like if you wanted, I don't know, maybe like more accuracy. I don't think the AUG necessarily needs accuracy. It's super accurate for a SMG since it's very steady. It doesn't have like a huge crazy like RPM like the MP7. But if you're using the MP7, you might want a little bit more accuracy or stability there. For my underbarrel, I'm running small grip because it is also has the main stat in crit damage, a little bit more stability. So you can see I have a lot of stability on my AUG, so it shoots like a laser. And reload speed, obviously you can get some other stuff here. You can get like crit damage there if you like, but I think the reload speed helps out a lot because the AUG has a little bit longer of a reload speed, and the longer the reload animation is, the more value you get out of the reload speed. So also we got like extended mag here. This is pretty obvious. On your extended mag, you want to go for crit chance, rate of fire, and obviously the extended mag is gonna have mag size, but you can have some different stuff here too. Like I have a couple of mags here, like this is crit damage and rate of fire if I wanted to go more crit damage. But you can see the rate of fire is going to be a little bit lower, but don't pay too much attention to the DPS meter. I can't stress this enough, guys. I have people always tweeting me builds, and they show me and they're like, I have 400 DPS and 400k toughness and 140k skill power. And then I look at their build and they're doing no damage because they're working off inflated stats. Do not base your DPS off inflated stats, guys. There's a lot of things in this game. For example, like marksman rifles, the semi-auto marksman rifles are going to give you huge amounts of DPS because it is considering that you're hitting a headshot every single shot, which we know if you're spamming the marksman rifle, hitting a headshot on every single shot is nearly impossible, which is why those numbers go through the roof, because it goes off the RPM and it goes off like the headshot damage, and obviously marksman rifles have higher headshot damage since that's their passive. So that's what I have on my AUG. Also for talents, I almost forgot, I run deadly, responsive, and competent. I think these are three very, very good talents to have. Deadly is a must-have on SMGs. Responsive is very good because you're going to be up close using this weapon mostly. And competent, the 10% extra damage is going to scale very well with your crit chance. Since you have so much crit chance on SMGs now, competent is a must must have. You can also do like unforgiving if you wanted to. Unforgiving wouldn't be bad instead of like responsive or competent if you had to do that. Destructive is kind of meh. It's not that good this patch for PvP. It's still very good for PvE though. So if you're going for a PvE build, you might want to run something like destructive instead of responsive, considering you don't want to be 10 meters close to targets, at least as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, you can also run a marksman rifle if you want. Just to show you guys what I have on my AR here. Now this is interchangeable. You can change this out for headshot damage if you would like. I personally like running headshot damage because it gives me a lot more burst, since when I'm using my assault rifle in this build, I'm usually going for headshots. Now if you're running like striker or something, you really shouldn't be going for headshots on every single shot because you want to get them stacks up. So obviously I got a VX1 scope here for the headshot, crit chance, a little bit of crit damage, headshot damage on the Omega rifle suppressor, 4% crit damage as well, 3% crit chance, and also here all crit damage, 19%, 2% accuracy, 4.5% reload speed, and then on my mag, once again, an extended mag, and this has crit damage and rate of fire. You can switch that up. It'd probably be better, now that I look at it, it'd be much better to have crit chance here. So I'll just change that up there, and that should be good. So yeah, so those are optional, but let's get into the core of the build. Also pistol, doesn't matter, I'm using a 93R. So the core of the build is this. Now you want to have all high-end items. The reason you want to have all high-end items is because of Skull Gloves, which gives you a talent called Skull's MC Gloves. Who would have thought? Damage increased by 16% when no set bonuses are active. Now what does this mean? And some people get confused about what set bonuses active means. It means if I had 2 striker like this, boom, this is automatically deactivated, which is why you saw my DPS go down so much. So you want to make sure that you're running an all high-end build with this. And these are the high ends that I'm using. So I'm using Vigorous for overheals. Now Vigorous is very good in like last stand, and if you have like a healer on your team, it's very important since those overheals are going to help you a ton. You know, I can't stress enough how good Vigorous is. Now, if you want, you can run Barrett's chest piece here, but I don't think Barrett's is very good anymore, considering the armor amount is a lot less. So 10% of what the armor amount is ends up only being like 3% more armor, which is very, very minimal compared to like what it used to give. It used to give like, I don't know, something around like 5 to 6% armor, which made it very, very strong. And yeah, that's just not the case anymore. So I run Vigorous for my mods. I'm running firearms mods with health. I'm using exotic damage resilience and health as well as major attributes. Now you can switch this up. I like exotic damage resilience because a lot of people are running one-shot Seeker Mine builds currently. But here you really, really want ammo capacity. I'm kind of bummed out that I don't have ammo capacity here, and then I have it rolled in stamina. Like I said, Vigorous, very important. You're going to have a lot of people in last stand using heals, and getting that overheal is super, super important. Now for my mask, I'm running Tenacious. I think Tenacious is by far the best. Some people want to argue that Refreshed is the best. Refreshed is a very, very good talent on a mask, but I don't think it's super like, you know, necessary. I think it does help out because it gives you that extra heal when you're below 2 segments of health. So if you have like, you know, just a little bit of health and you pop that and you're using critical save, that will give you a little bit more healing there. But as most of you guys know, the health kits are, the med kits rather, are super underwhelming this patch. I think that has a lot to do with before, when all the player talents were like ridiculous, you know, with critical save and on the move and battle buddy and all those talents that would stack on top of each other. You would basically have such a high resistance, you know, back when armor was also a thing. Your mitigation was almost like 90 to 100%. So you wouldn't take any damage after popping a medkit. So for a good like 5 to 10 seconds, you would get that overheal over time. If you guys know, you pop a med kit, you get that initial heal, and then you get overheal over time. Well, we're not really seeing that overheal over time anymore because we don't have crazy resistances, which means we're taking damage, which means it's stopping the heal. So I really think in the future they could give medkits a small, maybe 10% buff, which is why I'm actually running Tenacious on this mask rather than Refreshed, because in this patch, you can use medkits to remove status effects, and usually when you're under status effects, people try to take advantage of that and they open themselves up to being vulnerable. So what you can do is you can pop that med kit and instantly get that 10% damage boost and just completely destroy people. Now this is for PvP and also helpful for PvE as well, because you're going to be using med kits a lot in PvE since you take so much damage, and getting that extra 10% damage is really going to help out, which is why this build is super good for both PvP and PvE. So I am running a firearms mod with exotic damage resilience here. Now you can switch this out for health if you want. Let me see if I have another firearms mod that has health. Do we have one? I don't know. I don't see one right now. But if I had one with health, I might switch that out there. But yeah, I like running a little bit of extra EDR, even though that 2% might not seem like a lot. Considering that we're going to be running Nimble in this build, I'll tell you exactly why that little bit of extra exotic damage resilience could really help you out. For my knee pads, I think this is a no-brainer. You want to use short bow championship knee pads. These are a must-have for this build because you want those instant grenade explosions. You throw the nade, you stagger them, and then you do your damage with your AUG up close, and it can give you huge boosts of damage. Also, you could run this with an MDR too. You could run an MDR instead of like a, or a bullfrog. You could run a bullfrog. You could do bullfrog MDR. You could do AUG MDR. You could do AUG bullfrog. All these things are going to be really good because they're bursty weapons, and when they're staggered, they're open to taking a lot of damage. So that, and also like your shot grenades and your flame grenades or incendiaries, all those stuff are going to be good using these knee pads because they're going to instantly explode. It doesn't give people enough time to react. Now obviously these could get a little bit better. I rolled this 100 times at least and can't give above 1254. But like I have damage to elites here. I would much rather have like burn resist or shock resist here. But that's obviously something that you have to, do your best with. You got to do your best on these knee pads because they're rare and they're hard to get unless you're doing your legendaries all the time. And then for our backpack, which let me just show you, I'm also using health firearms mod here. And for all of my performance mods, I'm using first aid self heal, by the way, just because the first aid heal with the booster shot is so low, but I think booster shot is so necessary to have because of the resistance and the extra damage. For my backpack, I'm using a specialized backpack because you're putting all your points in the firearms. You can see I have 7,000 firearms and almost 5,000 stamina, very low electronics, and you need that little bit of extra skill power. If you have 80,000 skill power, your first aid does like nothing. But with the 6% first aid self heal on all your gear and the 108,000 skill power, you actually heal for a good amount, not too much, but enough. And obviously we're running crit damage here because I'm using a SMG. Now, if you were to run a assault rifle or the MDR, like I said before, and you're using that as your primary, you don't want to keep this crit damage here. You want to have health or skill power or something else in that area. Probably health would make you a lot tankier, and then you could even do more firearms if you wanted to. And for my mod, I'm running health and firearms again. Now, you can run EDR and everything if you're doing a tank build. That's what I would suggest. I would do EDR instead of health because those extra flat amounts of health aren't going to help you that much if you're stacking a bunch of stamina. But I'm going to be making a tank nomad build soon. That'll probably be the next build, which I'm still working on different ideas, and I'm trying to innovate and do some things that you guys haven't seen. Because obviously this and the Strikers build are builds that you guys are used to. But I just want to share it with you guys before I switch and start doing some theory crafting builds. And then disrupt resistance here, obviously ammo capacity would be a little bit more helpful if you're doing PvE, but in PvP, since you're fighting a lot, you usually don't run out of ammo, so having the extra resistance if you're playing PvP is a lot better, that disrupt resistance. And then also on the chest piece, I mean, if you have is not the chest piece, what is it, knee pads, you could have something else here like shock resist, that'd be really good. So my skull MC gloves, I am running SMG damage, crit chance, and crit damage. Obviously, if you are using your assault rifle as your primary, you want assault rifle damage here. You can also do like an armor pen build, which would give you really large amounts of damage. If you were to do like enemy armor damage, crit chance, and crit damage, you could do it that way if you wanted to. If you're already stacking a lot of enemy armor damage and that extra bit gives you even more damage than that, that might help you out. Or you can just do assault rifle damage too. But skull MC gloves are a must-have. Do not make a high-end build without these gloves. These gloves are what make the high-end build viable. That extra 16% damage is insane, and it brings it up to par with the other gear sets. Now let's talk about my holster, because I by far think that Nimble is the best talent in this patch, without a doubt. So Nimble is also a very, very must-have in this patch. Also, you can see like my firearms is really low on this. Like I'm almost like 100, 150 lower than what it could be. But this is just a filler, and this is going to get maxed out in Last Stand. But obviously, if I'm doing like PvE stuff, I need a better holster pretty much. That's what's coming down to. I have reload speed here, and I have a decent stamina roll and a decent electronics roll. But if you can get all three high rolls here, and I like reload speed. Some people don't think reload speed's worth getting, but if you have like 10% reload speed on your gun and then you have another 20% as a major attribute, well, boom, you almost have like more than Swift. You actually do have more than Swift. And it's basically like having super fast reload speed all the time. And when you notice how much you reload during a match, I think it's very important. But you can put health here if you feel like you're a little bit too squishy and you don't think that the reload speed affects you much. Now, this isn't as important as it used to be. We can go roll this actually right now. I'll roll this for more health. But this isn't as good as it used to be, because when sprint lock was in the game, reload speed was much, much better to have. But if I go like 8,000 health here, if we roll for health, or even crit chance, people talk about crit chance being the best here. If you're running an assault rifle, I would get crit chance in this area. So 4% there. You could even get like skill power. I think skill power would be pretty nice too. But I think I'm just going to roll for health. Well, I'm going to take that reload speed real quick, because that's like max. But if we get like 8,000 health, you can see it'll up my it'll up my health a lot, or up my defense rather. What is this? Give me the health, dude. There we go. 82.55, which is a decent roll, actually. So let's see if we put health on it, how much it ups my toughness. So yeah, like ups my toughness like 12k. But that's totally up to you. You can run reload speed if you want. I personally like it, but you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe you think you need a little bit more defense. But anyways, Nimble. Let's talk about Nimble. Now, Nimble has to be the strongest talent in the game. If you don't know what Nimble is, it gives you 2% of max health for every 1 meter you run in cover to cover during combat. It's very important to keep this in mind during combat. But if you're doing things like the contaminated events in the dark zone, this talent alone can help you solo those things. Like, it's a lifesaver. Basically, what's going to happen is if you're low on health, you can run from cover to cover, which I'm showing you guys on screen here. You can run cover to cover and get health back. Now, I'm going to show you guys a couple short clips of how Nimble completely just made this fight irrelevant for the other team. They couldn't do enough damage to kill me, and every single time I finished my run, I got back to full health.
boost can be activated in 10 seconds. Tactical boosts are available.
So in my opinion, Nimble is a must-have in this build. Nimble is just absolutely ridiculously strong. So let's go over my talents here and my skills. I like running Pulse and Booster Shot. Now, if you're doing PvE, you might want to change this out for like Overdose and obviously Tactical Scanner because you can't get the Pulse removed. But I like using... I like using Conceal or Scrambler rather when I'm using Pulse in the Dark Zone, or if I'm doing PvP in Last Stand, because of the fact that removing the Pulse from you is an extra benefit on top of pulsing other people. So getting that extra benefit is very, very important. And for my talents, my player talents, and these can be switched around a bit as well. I'm using Precision, which you can switch this out for something else if you'd like. But I was just doing Last Stand before this video, so I wanted to have Combat Medic on. Combat Medic is so important if you're playing Last Stand. That little bit of heal that you can give your teammates around you is huge, especially if you guys are working in a group and your squad's staying together. This talent alone can help you win team fights. So I'm also running Critical Save. This can be switched out for something else. And I'm running One Is None because I think One Is None is one of the most important talents in the game. Some of you guys may not think so, but having almost like 33% extra like ammo in your magazine is just crazy. And then I like running Precision, but you can do other things too. This is actually very good to run. Tactical Advance is a very good combo to run with Nimble, because you're going to be running and you're going to heal, and then you're going to be full health and you're going to have a bunch of damage. So really you could change Precision, since I'm using Pulse, to Tactical Advance, because you're going to be using cover to cover a lot since you want those heals from Nimble. So that's one of those talents that's going to really, really help you out. And that is my high-end build, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Wait, what is going on? Oh, my DPS went down because of the reload speed. I see that. But it's still like, 330k, and trust me, guys, it does a lot of damage. I'll show some clips here at the end of the video just to show you guys what this build is capable of doing. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop the video a like, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.
He took that one.